Behind me is the Benimar Mileo 301, a four-berth version of the 201 that we reviewed a couple of series ago. Now this is a couple's van with some added flexibility. You can take the grandchildren away, or perhaps even your own children. The choice is yours. There are 4 belted travel seats to go with the 4 berths, so you don't just have to have nighttime guests. There have been many improvements for Benimars for the 2017 season, so let's have a look at some of these, starting on the outside. Now the biggest news is the adoption of new Euro 6 engines for the Fiat Ducato. These meet the latest emission standards using exhaust gas recirculation technology rather than selective catalytic reduction. Now what does all that mean? Don't ask me. Now joking aside, it's the difference between using AdBlue or not. Fiat's decision not to use AdBlue frees you up for 2 things you may have to consider. 1, you don't have to worry about retopping your reservoir of AdBlue, and 2, you're not taking a nibble from your user payload by not having it. Very good work, Fiat. Another refinement concerns the LED daytime running lights, which look very good indeed. And also this natty black surround for the grille here, which is mirrored underneath by a little kicker plate alongside the front of the van. But there's more. Check out these new alloys. They look very sharp. In fact, I'd go a little bit further and say they're really rather good. Now the other feature, perhaps the standout one that explains Benimar's massive success since coming back to the UK, is that this continentally produced motorhome has a habitation door on the UK near side. And this means that you don't have to disgorge your passengers from the living area into the road when you pull up at the side of the road. Now the Mileo 301 is just 5.99 metres long, so yes, it's very friendly. It has to pack a lot in on its body length, and it certainly does this in the lounge. So we have 2 rotated driver's seats and 2 travel seats here with the L-shaped seating configuration and a table that moves fully around. Just pull it towards me and I can extend it and then push it where it needs to go in 2 directions, so you can take it anywhere you need it at all. Now these soft furnishings are new for 2017. They have this rather fetching red stripe in them, which is mirrored by the scatter cushions in the dinette. Now this is another reason why Benimar is popular with British buyers. It has this contemporary styling. It's very clean, some would say reminiscent of a boutique hotel, and it's certainly very different to a lot of what else is on the market. Now this near side galley isn't the biggest in the world, but there's still a decent amount of preparation space, especially when the lid on the cooker and the sinks are down. Talking about the cooker, it's a dual fuel unit, so you have a hot plate alongside 2 gas burners. Perfect if your gas is running a bit low. Underneath that you'll find a combination oven and grill. Now the sink has a little drainer that attaches into it, and under this surface here we have a dual fuel fridge with a removable freezer compartment. Very good indeed. Up above a microwave, slightly too high for my liking, but I'm not really sure where else they could have put it. And let's look at the storage units. There's a soft close action, so very satisfying indeed. And above that, another little quirk of Benimar's is this little racking rail at the front here, so you can take out everyday objects that you need to get access to and leave them on top of your cupboards. Another good design touch. Now, on a van this length, you have to have a multi-function washroom, but don't worry, you get everything you need, and a few other things too. The decor is spot on, matching the rest of the van. Double drain holes in the shower, perfect if you haven't levelled the van properly the night before. A brand new version of Thetford's loo for this season to make you feel like royalty when you're sitting on the throne. And also an all-round surround shower curtain, so you'll never get any spray on the wood. Which brings us on to the sleeping arrangements. Now, as I mentioned, there's a Luton at the front of the van, which means a rather large double bed over the driver's cab. 2 metres by 1.55 metres in this case. But it's not the only double bed in this motorhome. At the rear of the vehicle, there's a transverse double, which again measures 2 metres long, so very respectable length for all you tall people. Now it has 2 bed heights. The lower one, which is set to at the moment, and a higher one for when you're in transit. Now accessing the bed at its lower height is very easy because Benimar has considerately put some folding steps at the back of the vehicle. You just drop them down and shimmy up. Very easy. Now, I mentioned the two bed heights. There's a very good reason for that, obviously, is that the higher position when you're on the road, you can use the improved headroom to store tall items in the garage. When you get back on the site, you can just drop the bed down. Now, here's how it works. This is the lower position being raised up. Now, the other advantage of this method, of course, is that it uses the upper body version of Shanks's Pony. Imagine if you had an electrically operated version, but your leisure battery had run out. You wouldn't be able to drop the bed at all. Now, with all these storage locations to choose from, you'd be expecting the Benimar Mileo 301 to have a pretty decent user payload, and you won't be disappointed. It's 550 kilograms as standard, that you can bump up to 700 kilograms if you upplate free of charge to the 3,650 kilogram chassis. Bear in mind, you need to have C1 entitlement on your driving license to be able to do that. Well, all in all, this is a cracking couple's van with the added flexibility of being able to transport and sleep 2 extra people if required. If you don't want to do that, of course, then when you're pitched up, you could use the overcab for extra storage. And what's not to like about that? Another thing not to dislike at all is the price. Just over £49,000 on the road. Very good value for money, in my opinion. Not for nothing did Benimar sell 5% of all new motorhomes in the UK last season, and there's nothing to suspect that they won't increase that number for 2017.